Thanks for tuning in to this week's U.S. Weekly Weather Outlook here on landscapetoday.net. I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day. Let's take a look at the highlights over the next week. Well, the major weather trends continued stormy in the Midwest, the South, and the Northeast this week and possibly next week. Folks in the nation's midsection, east and south, there's a lot of weather to come this winter. It's far from over, and you're going to see that with a pretty healthy storm hitting the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. Ice and snow as far south as portions of Texas and Arkansas and Missouri. And we're also going to see more cold and unsettled weather over the next week to 2 to maybe 3 in the eastern and central areas of the United States. So as we leave February and head into March, we're going to have more active weather. Now, it's quiet for now in the far west and desert southwest. California did get some rain last week, but there's going to be a bit of a break in the far west and desert southwest this week and into early next week. As we get into March, that'll change. Some southern plains precipitation. What had been a dry spell for portions of Texas and sections of the southern plains. Well, a little bit of precip this week coming in and maybe early next week as well. Let's take a look at the current jet stream map. We have high pressure along the west coast giving California that break, but here's a big dip. And this is the dip that's going to make it cold and unsettled while we do have some warmer air in the southeast for a little bit. This trough of low pressure is going to form a low that's going to cut right up into here, intensify and become quite a doozy of a storm for the Great Lakes. This will pour cold air on the backside for a driving wedge of cold air that's going to end up impacting some deep south areas here over the next 48 to 72 hours. While here in this area, we're going to see a band of heavy snowfall, and along the edges of this band of heavier snowfall will be rain and some icy conditions. Chicago right on the edge, but Detroit, Cleveland, down into Cincinnati, along Lake Erie here, this area, going to see some heavy snowfall and a lot of wintry weather, and it's going to head up into New England. Now let's fast forward into early next week, Leap Day Monday. We see that the low is replaced by another one, keeping the Great Lakes cold in this part of the country into early next week. This little wave here doesn't look like much, but it could very well end up spawn another storm system towards the middle to the end of next week in this part of the nation here. So it's a system that will follow the one that's moving through now next week to keep the weather pattern active. Here's the precipitation forecast through March 1st, next Tuesday. You can see the purple. That shows the heavier precipitation from Arkansas, northeast Texas, through the eastern Corn Belt and the Great Lakes, all the way up through northern New England. And a lot of this, especially in the area I'm outlining here on the northwest side, this is all going to be snow here. And there's going to be also some areas of icy conditions right along that boundary that we need to watch. But if you're in the snow removal business, you're going to be very busy here over the next 2 to 3 weeks in this part of the nation, as there's going to be several opportunities for more storms. These systems here out west will be coming in early to the middle portions of next week. You can see California, Arizona, Las Vegas areas not seeing much weather. But when we get into March, we'll start to see storms track this way, and this part of the country will start to get wet and stormy again next month. Thanks for tuning in to landscapetoday.net for your weekly weather U.S. Outlook, and we'll have a new update for you next week. Any questions? Email me at don@dayweather.com. Thanks for tuning in.